Welcome to Entrepreneurial Entrails for some short stories on the guts and glories of being an entrepreneur.
Short people got no reason. Short people got no reason.
Hey, it's Elizabeth with Entrepreneurial Entrails, and today is Get to Know Me Friday, that wonderful time where I encourage you very strongly to share some personal stuff about yourself on your website or social media or whatever, so that people actually get to know you and want to build a relationship with you. Because quite frankly, who wants a stranger in your bubble? So today, actually I have a couple of different things, but I'm going to talk about the best things that were ever said to me. And my husband gets 2 shouts out on this one. Whew, that doesn't normally happen. But one of them is from one of my best friends that I've known since I was 9. And we've had one of those relationships that's sort of upsy downsy all aroundsy. And probably because we're both really strong-minded, opinionated women who periodically want to tell each other where to get off. But I love her to death. And she's been my Little House on the Prairie co-fan for many years. And I just think she's brilliant. Well, she actually is brilliant. She's a physician that could have been a neurosurgeon. So I get to hang around some pretty smart people. And so quite a few years ago, Stephanie said to me, one thing that I really like about you is that you have really strong opinions and you stick to them until somebody convinces you otherwise. And she said the fact that you have really strong opinions doesn't prevent you from changing them if somebody can present you with a reasonable argument. It doesn't even have to necessarily be an argument per se. I mean, I'm using that as a general term, but for the most part, yeah, I'm really opinionated. I read a lot. I learn a lot. And I absorb information from all kinds of sources. And quite frankly, I can be a judgmental piece of work. But opinions are something that I probably share far too freely. But if you honestly come to me and you say, you know what, I think you're wrong and this is why, and you have a reasonable case for it, then there are many times where I've gone, you know what, you're right. I'm going to rethink that and let me have a look. And it's actually saved me a lot of trouble sometimes. It's opened me up to learn about new things. It certainly opened me up to, spark the change that I was working on, because I thought corporations always had to suck. And thank God they've been able to really change my mind quickly. And I really appreciated when she said that. And I mean, that was a number of years ago and it still sticks with me. And I mean, people have been pretty free with telling me what they think of me, positive and negative. But for some reason, that one stuck out. And then my husband, who I've, known for a while now, 24 years. A few years ago, we said 2 things. So the first off is my husband is dyslexic, extremely intelligent man, but dyslexic, has a hard time with reading. And I read like a maniac. Could be anything. I've read stuff from, beekeeping to the origins of the modern house setup to Stephen Hawking's black hole theory to stuff on Darwin to, I don't know, how ice cream's made. And I love it all, and I file it all away in my little, mind palace, as Sherlock Holmes says. And he looked at me one day, and he said, if I had your ability to read, basically it was, if I had your ability to read, I'd be so happy. And he saw some of the stuff I was reading, and he said, you've got this great ability to read. Why don't you use it to make yourself better? And it's not that that he was criticizing me as a person, but if you have the opportunity to read and learn, don't read crap. Read stuff that's going to improve your mind and make you more useful to society and whatever. And I took that rather seriously because I've always taken my ability to read as for granted. I've never really considered it a gift because it's just never been a challenge. And my son is also dyslexic, in addition to being, an Asperger's guy. So luckily, because I intervened quite quickly with Thomas, he's always been an avid reader. Not, he's more graphic novels and stuff like that. But the fact that he even picks up books on a regular basis, I'm thrilled about. It doesn't matter what it is. And, unfortunately, I got to my husband a bit late. So I encourage him with, golf magazines and what have you. So that really made an impression. And then he said to me as well, and I think I've shared this before, that, he said, you're not very creative on your own, but you make other people's stuff so much better. And that could sound like an insult, and that could sound, negative and what have you. And I didn't take it that way, because he's absolutely right. I always need an origin of an idea, as 99% of the population does. And the more I read business books and the more I read, those improvement books and what have you, like not that Mars and Venus shit, but, real stuff. And I'm sorry if that's a polarizing statement, but some of that self-improvement stuff for women is just crap. So the more I read that stuff, I realize, obviously, as most people do, that there's not truly much original material floating around in the world. And I really enjoy sitting down with somebody and having a look at their stuff. And it could be a blog post, it could be their website, it could be anything. And just seeing it from a different angle. And that's one of the ways my brain works that seems to be unique, is that I just see things differently. But I love that process, and I love showing somebody, with a few changes and a few tricks to the language or what have you, this is what you could actually say or present or what have you. And it's a fantastic conversation that I have. So I've really appreciated when he said that to me, and I've hung on to it, and I use it quite proudly. And then one of the last things was from my brother. And quite a few years ago, I did it's called a Career Explorations Express course. And I think I've also mentioned that as well. And one of the things they encouraged you to do was to reach out to your friends and family and ask them to describe you. And, not in a big flowery whatever way, but like pick 5 words that came up. And for me, a lot of the ones that came up was, loyal and honest and what have you. And I started sounding like a golden retriever by the end of it. But I was really thrilled with the feedback. And my brother Christopher is 4 years older than I am, lives out in BC right now. And we've, always have each other's backs, I would like to say, but we've never been particularly tight. And that's part of it has to do with the 4-year age difference. And part of it is just our family dynamic growing up was a little dysfunctional, like not honey boo boo dysfunctional, but just, just a little weird. And so when Christopher sent me his feedback, first of all, I was really chuffed that he did that. But one of the things he put was that he admired about me was my ability to get back up after a challenge. And really appreciated that. And his example was, like the song Tub Thumping. I get knocked down and I get up again. And don't ask me to sing again because it's pretty bad. And I really appreciated that. And that's one of those things that I filed away to go, you know what? Thank you. And from somebody I respect, because I do respect my brother. I think a lot of him, and he's a pretty great guy. And I really appreciated that honest feedback from him. We're not a touchy-feely kind of family in that way. So I guess my point is I would strongly encourage you to take a moment, in the get to know me phase. And I'm not a touchy-feely person. If I have to work with somebody who needs constant feedback and bolstering and what have you, it's just not going to go well. If I'm not saying anything to you on a regular basis that's bad, you're doing a great job. Granted, if something goes out of the ordinary, absolutely, I'm the first one there applauding and giving a clap on the back. But if you need constant reassurance and that you're doing the right thing and everything's peachy keen and aren't we all loving friends and, something out of a Robert Munch book, I will probably vomit on your shoes and poke my eye out at the same time. But I do encourage you to seek honest, constructive feedback. I do encourage you to reach out to your network and ask if there's, 5 words that describe you or what have you, and listen to when people provide those little nuggets, like my friend Stephanie did, like my husband's done, like my brother's done, and use those, when you're having those days where shit's going sideways. Remember those. I still have the list somewhere of the feedback that I received from people, and every now and again I take it out and a little punch on the shoulder. I'm not so bad. So that's my get to know me today. Is those types of things do make an impression. So I thank people very much who provide it, and I strongly encourage you to go out and find it for yourself. As always, you have the guts and glory to make your own story, and look forward to hopefully hearing yours soon. Hope you're having a great week, great weekend. It is Friday at 8:35 in the Burlington area. And we will talk to you soon. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.